Hello, this is Dr. Charmaine Gregory, and this is the Nocturnist Diary. This is a series currently that I'm doing, and it's called Moving Small Mountains. It is a greatness series, and so far in previous episodes, I've talked about tips for public speaking, tips for overcoming nervousness associated public speaking, and also about having vision. So today I'm going to talk about how to deal with difficult people. This is something that we pretty much come across no matter what we do. There's always a situation where we may come in contact with someone who is not being very pleasant, who is not interfacing with us in a very positive manner. And that situation can be diffused by doing a couple of tips. So the first tip is, if this is someone that is potentially venting to you, you can give them a quick listen, which would be out no more than 5 minutes. And it may seem like a very long time for you as the listener, because a lot of times when someone's venting, the things that they're venting about may not necessarily be positive. So if you allow them to speak without, this is not with you agreeing, just having engagement and looking them in the eye and showing them that you're listening for 5 minutes. When they're done, that is your opportunity at that point to relay back some of the information to them and control the conversation. So tip number 1 is the 5-minute rule, which is where you listen to the person venting. Sometimes this is sufficient enough for them to feel better because they just wanted to get it off their chest, and they or go back to being pleasant or interacting in a more positive fashion. So having them vent and speak for 5 minutes without interruption is a really great way to diffuse a situation. The second thing that you can do is you can literally separate the person from the situation. So what I mean by that is, if the person is really negative, so if, for example, they are yelling at you, that shouldn't be tolerated. One way that you can diffuse that is you can say, I don't appreciate you yelling at me. I cannot speak with you. I cannot have a dialogue with you if you're yelling. Can you please have respect for me and speak in a normal tone and see if we can come to a solution to your current problem? And that in and of itself can allow the person to pause and think about what they've been doing, like their actions. Perhaps they are so emotional and so wrapped up in the situation that they don't even really realize that they're yelling and they're very aggressive towards you. So just pointing that out to them in a calm fashion can sometimes be sufficient to diffuse that situation as well. So number 1 was listen and allow them to vent without major interruption, with the caveat that they're not yelling at you at that time. And number 2 is separate the person from the situation. So if there is a huge amount of negativity with, increased volume and aggressiveness, just bring it back to the level of respect that you deserve and you require, and let them be aware that they're not respecting you, and that if they want to continue a dialogue or interaction with you, that they need to reduce their tone and speak to you in a much more respectful fashion. And then the last thing is well, actually, I have 2 more. One more. The third thing is putting the spotlight on them. So oftentimes when someone is, being this way, they are going to be coming with a lot of negative energy. And if you put the spotlight on them, so say, for example, they say, I don't think that you did a great job with this project, or I don't think that you are, you're doing a great job in general. What you can say is, okay, I understand what you're saying there, but please give me concrete examples of why you think that I'm not doing a great job. Put it back on them so that they can think in their minds and start to troubleshoot. Are they really the problem, or is it really something that you did that's causing this interaction to occur? And then the last thing is to lead the conversation. So you need to take charge of the conversation. Do not be the follower in the conversation. And there are very simple ways in which you can do that. You can literally say to the person, I don't think this is a good time to talk about this. It seems like you are very emotionally charged right now. Let's or you can say, by the way, how did the soccer game go for your kids this past weekend? And by changing the direction of a conversation and changing the tone, you can diffuse that as well. So those are the tips that I have for you today. Hopefully these were helpful to you. So number 1 was the 5-minute rule: allow for venting as long as there's no verbal abuse associated with it. Number 2 was separate the person from the situation. And number 3 was put the spotlight back on them. And then the final tip was be the leader in a conversation. Be the person that is going to be problem solving and control the direction of the communication. And these hopefully will be helpful to you if you come in contact with someone who's being difficult. And if they are helpful tips, please feel free to share them and make a comment below. This is Dr. Charmaine Gregory, and this is the Nocturnist Diary. I hope that you will be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.